Range and bearing to targets are shown here, EBL1 and the variable range marker, VRM1, EBL2 and VRM2. This was the last one we did, so you'll find this information in larger numbers up here on the screen. Guard zone is another extremely useful radar feature. You can set an area anywhere around the boat and be warned when targets come into the guard zone or when they leave the guard zone. It's set using the EBLs under the Enter key. Activate EBL1. We set the outside of the marker. EBL2 sets the inside of the zone. Then we set the guard zone using the Adjust key and mark it for targets that come into the zone. There's your guard zone set. If any target comes into that zone, it'll trigger the alarm. We showed how using the echo sounder we can go back in time, go back behind the boat, and create a waypoint right from the echo sounder. But we can do the same thing from the radar. As we're leaving the inlet and we're running out, we notice on the radar screen a variety of boats or maybe birds off here on the starboard bow. We want to go there. Move the cursor out to where that target appears, hit Go To, and number 1 for cursor. There's your waypoint. Right here on the radar screen. Now we go to the chart plotter, and it's right here. Bearing 139 degrees, distance is 8.5 miles. Simrad was first to realize and incorporate the advantages of high-speed radar updates by increasing the speed of the antenna rotation. Normal antenna rotation is 24 RPM. As you see here. You can manually engage 48 RPM or let it automatically speed up depending on vessel speed. The faster the boat, the more difficult it is to get a smooth target acquisition. Targets tend to jump across the screen. So with a faster radar antenna, you'll see fast targets move more uniformly across the screen. The other advantage is that in dual radar, you will now have a normal radar picture on each screen, 24 RPM here and 24 RPM here. When you have a lot of traffic around you, you want to be able to get a quick idea of the relative directions that people are taking. Using the trail feature on radar is a handy tool. Trails are found here under the Adjust key, and you can select 30 seconds, 1 minute trails, in this case 30 seconds. Now you'll see a red trail behind all the targets. Remember, we're going straight, so anything that is stationary is going to have the same length red trail behind it, straight up and down. Anything that is going in a straight direction relative to us is going to have a straight trail, but it'll be perhaps twice as long. Vessels that are not going in the same direction or the opposite direction from us will appear as a diagonal line, a diagonal trail. So it really helps you sort out moving targets from stationary targets. True motion is a radar feature that allows you to move across the field. When you get that, you just saw, we just jumped from about 20% up in the top of the screen down here. Now, we move across the screen. We have the trails turned on, so any target that's moving relative to us shows up with a red tail. Everything else is pretty much stationary. So it just makes it easier for you to see the moving targets. Here, this is pretty stationary, but that's because that's a vessel moving the same direction we are. Here's a moving target here. Just makes it easier for you to see what's moving relative to you. From our radar screen, or from any screen, it's just a single key press to go right to another function, in this case, the echo screen. And for daylight viewability, we like to use the white screen. Power, palette number 1, enter. The colors on a white background give you the brightest, best contrast on a bright sunny day. We've set the screen up for the easiest viewing right now, but there are many features that can also be added to the screen. The most familiar being A-scope, or what is happening under the transducer exactly at this moment. The Enter key is where you find all of the quick features. We can change the frequency from 50 to 200 kilohertz. We can activate the A-scope with key press number 2. The A-scope is this column, and it's what's happening under the transducer at this moment, real time. And then the history begins here. So you'll see a target appear on the A-scope, and it'll immediately appear on your main screen. This is bait. These are individual fish. We like to see bait as bait because that's what the fish are looking for. You'll also see there's fish here on the bottom. The density of the bottom is represented, the most dense targets, by the red. And you'll see that there's a blue color just above that bottom. Now we can enhance that so you can see it more clearly. As you see more targets on the bottom, we can use a bottom lock feature. It's under the Enter key. Bottom lock display splits the screen. We take the jiggy bottom and we flatten it out. So now these little targets that are lying in the crevices, laying on tops of the structures, are easier to see in the bottom row. This is this, and that's fish. To help differentiate what's bottom and what's targets on the bottom, there's a feature called white line that can be turned on underneath the Adjust key. Scroll to the white line, turn it on, hit Enter. Now you will see more clearly what's bottom and what's targets on top of the bottom. To go back to a standard display, it's very simple. Back into Edit, under Enter, choose number 3, which is the standard echo display, and there it is, and the white line is still on. We can choose bottom zoom or bottom expansion. The quick menu is under the Enter key. Zoom display is number 5, and it amplifies what you see on the main display on the bottom display. The range that you're seeing above the bottom is selectable. To go back to the standard display, Enter, choose the standard echo display, which is number 3, and you're back where you started. The gain control is like the volume on your TV. It's like gain on your radar. Here we have a fairly weak signal. It's not very intense. Red are more intense colors, so let's increase the gain. You can use the cursor pad and simply touch left or right to increase the percentage of gain. The more intense the return, the deeper and redder the colors. We can split screen, do dual functions. With the 44 series, we have twin 1,000 watt transceivers in this unit. It's basically 2 fish finders in one. With a dual element, dual frequency transducer as opposed to a single element transducer, we can show both frequencies simultaneously. A long key press on the echo key, and now we have 50 kilohertz running in the left-hand window and 200 kilohertz running in the right-hand window. 50 kilohertz is a low frequency, generally used for deep water. 200 kilohertz is a wider beam used in shallower water. Seeing them both together at the same time tells you a lot more about what's going on under the boat than using just one frequency. We're running along the south side of the Keys at 35 knots. We want to keep an eye on the echo sounder, and we can do that, as we showed you earlier, with just a short touch on the chart plotter key, and it opens up an echo sounder window. In this case, the second press will give us 200 kilohertz right here. Now what we're doing is we're running out where we're going to fish for the day, but in the meantime, we're looking for structures. We're looking for holes and lumps, and we may see something right there. So a single key press on the echo screen takes us to the echo. We hit plot. It freezes the screen. And number 3 is insert a waypoint. Now you'll see why we're going to be doing this. We're actually going back in time, in this case, about 15 seconds, and we've inserted the marker here in the bottom of this hole. We press enter, and it sets a waypoint. We go back to the chart screen, and here's the waypoint. When we come back later in the day, we can stop and we can find that same hole. That's one of the benefits of having two features like chart plotter and echo sounder in the same box. You can't do that when the units are independently installed.